Hello, everyone. I'm JeanClaude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this very special emergency report here on Sunday night. This is, of course, the of Ottawa Freedom Convoy special updates with Janine. You can find my guests, of course, at Ascending Ravens on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. Janine, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Jean-Claude. Sorry to pull you from your little break there.
I know. What was that movie from The Godfather? It's like every time I get out, they pull me back in, or something like that. I know. Sarah and I were trying to take a break this weekend, but of course, no, we've been covering a lot of the things that are happening here just downtown. So, guys, welcome to this live interaction. If you look over my finger here, that is the Peace Tower. And of course, it is a peaceful protest for sure, but that is the Peace Tower right behind me. And if you look down also, you'll see that Main Street. This is the market in Ottawa. So all the little restaurants and shops. This is the historic area. And yeah, just above my finger, all the way up there, that's the Peace Tower. So we're about 4 miles away from Parliament Hill. Janine, you and I were just catching all of this today. I think the biggest news right now we need to share with the audience here. There's a couple of things, but the main one, of course, is that Ottawa now has just declared a state of emergency. So Mayor Jim Watson has been out basically asking for help. And if you read some of the news articles and the language they use, he's talking about unlawful activities and scary, and all of these things. When in fact, if you look at what I've been reporting, that is not the case now. It's not to say that there are not some bad actors, but every night in Ottawa, there are bad actors. So that doesn't need to be pinned on the convoy. Yep. Again, if you've seen any of my footage, it's very contrary to what the mainstream media is telling us. Let's start there. When you heard this today, what are your first impressions? And then I'm going to ask you a few questions here for the cards as well.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm surprised with this creepy government we have. They didn't do it sooner. I'm surprised it even got going. I'm surprised they partied hard even last night. All the parties, I was expecting them to do something like this last night. Right. Just the way they were posturing with their little, the police chief's little video there. And it turns out that police chief was put in place right at the beginning of the plan that is endemic, right? Exactly. Right at the beginning of that. Yeah, he's like just a stand-in guy just for things like this, frankly.
And before we go further, there's probably some audience members asking, why the hell is JC so dark? Well, one, I want to show you the scene in Ottawa because I have friends who are in the RCMP, and they've just notified me also that the cops now are moving in. They're busting up basically the convoy depot on Coventry Road, which is about a couple of kilometers away. But this is where all of these truckers are getting food from, their fuel from. And so now the cops are getting into that, and they're charging people now as well. If you can bring that up on the screen, they're arresting people now for helping the truckers. So apparently now it's a criminal offense to bring food and fuel to the truckers here who are doing this peaceful rally. This is the footage now of these cops moving in, like I said, on Coventry Road. It's scary here a little bit because some of my friends were saying that depending on how this goes, it could potentially spark riots here. And that's absolutely what we don't want, because that would give them an excuse again to maybe use even more force against this peaceful crowd. So that remains to be seen. We'll see where that goes. But let me ask you this emergency. Said yes, they were late on doing that. But what do you think the tactic is tonight? Are they trying to liberate some more funds to maybe have some more authority to squeeze people out? There's something else in the astrology. When you and I last spoke with Julie, she had mentioned that tomorrow, or today actually, was one of the days where some of these attempts could be. And of course, right on cue, we're getting this attempt here that jackboot down our throat. So let's ask the cards here. What's the message behind putting this forward? Is there another strategy?
You're breaking up a bit there. Maybe say the question again. You're breaking up.
Okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, again, there's something weird happening with the internet here today. Everybody's having issues trying to connect. So I don't know if they're trying to jam some of these communications. They've also closed down many highway here. You can't even access Ottawa right now. So I'm not actually sure how we're going to get out of here also tomorrow. Right now, we're planned on leaving tomorrow. So the question is, what do you have to say behind this move of emergency? Is this just a panic move? Is there something else behind the scenes here that we need to know about?
Okay. Yeah, it looks kind of panicky to me. We've got the chariot, you know, so they're just trying to get things. It's like they just really felt out of control. So they're trying to get things back in control. So it's a move to get things back in control. This is interesting because it feels like they're way outstepping. I don't think they have the ability somehow to call it an emergency, because this is a smoke and mirrors card. I don't know if they went through the proper channels to do that, or they have that authority. Do you know anything about how that works? Because this feels like they're pushing it with that chariot. They're pushing it. So none of this hold maybe in the light of day.
I'm not sure about the legality of it. Also, I just saw the reports just before we went live, so I didn't have a chance to go see who perhaps had voted for this at City Hall. So I can click on that maybe for tomorrow's show. I do apologize to the audience members. Yes, we're breaking up. I'm not on the Wi-Fi. I'm actually on my 5G phone because the Wi-Fi here in the hotel is absolutely bogged down. So either those are trying to upload videos, or there's something else weird happening. And I'll tell you what the city is also doing with these hotel rooms, which is absolutely atrocious. I keep going. I see you have another card there, Janine.
Yeah. So it looks like tomorrow it's going to look different. They're going to put them up against a wall tomorrow legally. So I feel like they might have overstepped. Like they don't have enough to be calling it that. They don't have the. Obviously, we know it's not that kind of a demonstration. It was a peaceful love-in by all accounts. And all over the world, anyone that was showing it, that's how they were represented. Everybody was looking bad except the truckers. The truckers were looking really good. So I'm thinking they don't have a leg to stand on here somehow. So if anybody knows legally how they would do that and how they could get away with what they did, let us know, because it looks like they're going to get a lot of pushback tomorrow. And there could be a whole lot of stepping back tomorrow.
I saw a lawyer here in Ottawa just tweeted before we went live. He's getting calls that people are in custody right now. So they're arresting people who are trying to help the truckers. This is Ezra from Rebel News who was reporting this too. So there is that. And again, I'm not sure how illegal it is to help somebody with fuel and food. I mean, how do you justify that in the news? It's absolutely horrendous. So we'll see what happens there tomorrow. What's happening with the hotels also now from other hotels and other people here in the downtown core, that in fact the government had been renting out hotel rooms to keep them empty, so that the protesters coming into Ottawa to peacefully protest would not be able to access the downtown core sleeping and lodging areas. And I'm like, dude, it's -30. They're using our taxpayers' money to rent hotels that they're keeping dark while we still have homeless people in the street. It's, again, if you had any idea or if you had any last doubt that perhaps this government is actually there to help you out, whether it's or federal, you really need to rethink that. When I see that, I'm just like, wow, completely flabbergasted by that move. That sounds a lot like desperation, for sure.
Yeah.
Janine, something else that's happening today too. We can talk about this channeling from Blossom. What's the word? I forget what her name is, but she's channeling the galactic Blossom, good child here. In this last video she posted, she's talking about maybe another strand hitting in order to create this worldwide lockdown, and they're talking about the fact that we need to get ready. It appears that this could be similar to what one of Osavan was talking about, this huge gut punch moment. We're all, but could it be possible here that in fact they're going to try to pull this other variant or other, I don't even know what to call it here on a censored show. Us all in lockdown in a global fashion. What are your first thoughts on that? And then maybe let's pull some cards to see what's really going on behind the scene here.
Right. Now, it could even be a whole different thing. not a variant of anything. You know what I'm saying? Like it
Right.
could come in a left field.
I think it was in Switzerland today, or Sweden. They were talking about this huge strain of HIV that's apparently 10 times deadlier than the first one. So could that be what they're trying to roll out right now? Who knows?
Yeah, and I was talking to Catherine Edwards. Her and I are going to do an emergency report tomorrow because she has some, things she's observing in England and in the UK, and it's just they're really gearing up for something, I think, because she says they're spraying constantly, doing what they do in the sky over your head there. So she's thinking they're gearing up for something like that, and their horses are really affected. So her and I are going to have a chat about it tomorrow and look into it. But let's look into what that channeling. Let's just see what we can get around that. Is that true, or is that one of the things they could do? Because we know that the good guys want to lock everything down one more time to really bring out what these guys have been up to, and also to step out the shadow government. That's what I was getting for a really long time. But is that the only way they could do it? Because like you and I were talking about, JeanClaude, that's not something we want to go through ever again.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been muting my mic here. Hopefully I can reduce some, also reduce the teaming here to try to get through this communication with you guys tonight. So bear with us again, folks, if there's a little bit of crackling in our voices. We're doing the best that we can. So, okay, Janine, pull some cards on. And then I also want you.
Okay, well, I'm going to say that Blossom Goodchild, I mean, she's got a good channel. Like whoever she's channeling is legit. I've never looked into her, but that's legit. They're telling truth, and it's one of three things they could do. I don't think it's the only thing they can do. So for some reason that's one of them. And I think they're just preparing us in case it has to go that way. Okay, so and it would be like a lockdown for X amount of time. And what you got to really listen to that, what we put up there, to the channeling, because there is some really interesting stuff in it. He says that it's the good guys doing it, but they're using the bad guys. So it's going to look like the bad guys are doing it. So it's like this combination. And I've been getting that all along. All of these bad guy schemes are being rolled out by the good guys faster than the bad guys would have. And with less damage, but they're still damaging, just to get the point across, that so we never get in this situation again. And this is what this guy's kind of saying. If you listen to what he's saying, it's kind of going along with that narrative. So it does look legit here. We got all the legit kind of cards.
Okay, you're breaking up horribly on my side, but I think the audience can hear you okay. So what I'm going to try to do, next question here, and I'm going to try to plug it through my laptop and see if that's any better here than the cell phone. So, Janine, I also heard some other mediums and other psychics say that perhaps this next wave was actually going to be done in unison with the white hats or the good guys, and that they would do that to lock down the whole there in order to perhaps clean up the final cleanup of all the underground stuff and all the bad people. And it would need to go to this global lockdown situation in order to do that. So can you ask the cards, indeed, perhaps that is one of the plans right now from the white hats to initiate this global lockdown here for the last minute cleanup? So answer that, and I'll try to log back in from the other phone. Okay.
So I don't know if you guys heard what he was saying there, but because he's breaking up quite a bit. So I'll just repeat it. He says he's hearing from a whole lot of other psychics, not just this woman we just talked about, that there's a need for a huge one more global lockdown to finish the cleanup and really get the players out in the open. Basically, just to finish up, tidy up the work. Like there has to be this lockdown. So we're looking into, is that why they're doing this? Certainly not anything I want to see, but let's have a look. We best be prepared if it is coming, And we know Juan O'Savin's been telling us about stuff like that's not going to be pretty, right? He's been talking about this for quite a while. So let's have a look. So here's the cards we're getting around it. So that would be the world. So that, because that's a large community. And that's what we asked. Is that true? And there's a big secret. So to get the secret out to a really large amount of people, to get the secret out. I wonder how another world lockdown. I mean, Jean-Claude and I were talking about it today. If they just got what they wanted, say the truckers, and the government complied, you know, to those demands, things might just go back quietly to the kind of creepy things that they've been up to, right? So it does kind of make sense that they would have to do something more severe to kind of bring the spotlight on what these guys have been up to the general public. Yeah, it has. Jean-Claude, hi, you're back.
Oh, yes.
It has something to do with really getting the spotlight back on the bad guys. Instead of quietly just the mandates go away and we keep our creepy governments, I think it's a way that they can really bring things. So this is things coming out in the open, and it'll bring things. Somehow it's easier to bring everything out in the open on these guys. This is what it's saying. So it does look like there's some truth to that comment that you made just before you left us.
Wow. Man, I don't know that I have it in me to go through a whole other one lockdown around the world like that, but wow. Okay. Is there a way, Janine, that maybe we can, even though that might be one of the plans from the white guys or the white hats, is it possible that we as humans can come together and say, no, this is enough. This far, no further. We need to stop this now. And can we, put our intention to having another resolve other than that, but that's just as effective? Let's see what the cards can say. And if the answer is yes, then we have to ask the audience members here to share this message and to also pray for that particular outcome if we can move the needle on that.
Oh, there's absolutely a way we can move the needle. So this is a passion and intent card. We need to, but we can't get all down and feeling like that's our only option. So we have to come out of fear and feeling all bummed out about it. Look at our wins, because there have been some really big wins lately, and really go on the tails of those wins on our own steam, right? So we have to keep doing exactly what we're doing, going into schools, not getting the children to walk out. There's been kids walking out in Alberta here. They're not getting much support. We need more support on that. We need just everyday grassroots, any little thing you can do in your community, including going into stores without, don't comply to the mandates in the stores. So it does look like there's things we can do. It absolutely does. And we have a fighting chance energetically if we put our energy, because don't forget that people of high vibration can shift things a lot quicker. Like just one of us in a room can change the whole vibration of a room. Right. So we can't let this be we need to visualize and intend that there could be a different way we can do this. Stay focused on what the wins we have gotten, and keep supporting people that are doing something about it. And in every little tiny way, we have to do things daily about it. Like go in places on purpose. I've been doing that. I go talk to people, ask them why they're still requiring their staff to wear things over their face, that it's offensive when I tell them when there's all of those truckers in Ottawa and various different locations all over the world at this point, I tell them, and that most of them don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And speaking of what we can do, these are the people here in Ottawa. You can see Sarah next to me there, jumping around to the song Jump Around here on Parliament Hill, a big dance party. This is right in front at the corner of Metcalfe and Wellington. And again, just not what's being reported in the news. It was absolutely amazing again here today. The energies, through the roof, and I met some amazing Beyond Mystic fans. They were next to me at a moment. I don't know if they're in this clip here, but somebody says, "Hey, we're on your Patreon." I'm like, I don't have a Patreon anymore. They deleted me, so I wasn't sure they actually knew who I was. And I'm like, "Well, what's my name?" And the gentleman and his wife says, "Well, you're Jean-Claude, of course." I'm like, "Oh, okay, you have to know who I am." So I thought that was absolutely fun. Oh, really cool. So big shout out to you guys.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can tweet a picture of this beautiful couple I met here today. But as I explained to them, because of these lockdowns, yes, I've been very prolific on YouTube, but I'm not technically allowed to go out anywhere anymore. So it's not like I meet any people.
Yeah.
So it was really fun to meet some people. Let's get into this news about the Queen here. There's some talks, of course. You and I have been covering her for quite some time, but she came out with this Jubilee here yesterday or the day before, and they're seeming now, at least the Crown is deciding who's going to be replacing her duties here. So they're talking about Prince Charles and also Camilla now assuming some more duties. Okay, so first of all, it was odd enough for us to, when Boris Johnson did the decision here to reverse course, we were like, well, who is he taking the orders from? The lizard has left the house, so to speak. So who's the Crown right now? Who are the White Hats? And why is this news article now just making the rounds? First thoughts for you, and then let's pull some cards on that as well, Janine.
Yeah, well, as soon as I heard, of course, I was like, okay, who are they parading around as the Queen now?
Yeah.
And according to some Brits I was talking to, it does look like a pretty good rendition of the Queen, the best that they've had for a long time. So that's interesting. So that could be CGI. They could be messing with stuff, right? We know that they mess with, I mean, don't forget they had Mr. B parading around and part of his head would disappear in a hand. So it was literally CGI and not him walking around. So we don't know. And we also don't know, when did they record that? They could have all of this, if they were watching a big movie, they could have recorded it a whole long time ago. So there's those kind of things to keep in mind. We can be fooled really easily. So don't forget that, right? So let's have a look, because that seems very suspicious to me that they're parading her out at this late hour.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially given that we thought in the last couple of months they kept pushing out, a little drip drop that she's not well, that she's going to be dying, or maybe that's it too. They're just putting all their dotting all their I's and crossing their T's so that they're about to announce that she's dying also. So let's get a first pull from the cards and see what's up with that.
And isn't that strange that she nods to Camilla?
Right.
Like, really? The only one that whenever I looked at it might still actually be with us on the Earth plane. I found that interesting. Are they setting it up because Charles is gone too, and they're going to need Camilla to step up if they're actually going to run the thing, if they're actually going to pretend there is, that bunch still in charge? Like, what are they just covering the bases? Let's have a look.
Right. And guys in the live chat, thank you so much. I got quite a few donations from you yesterday while I was doing the live stream on the Hill. Wow, you guys blew my heart away. A big thank you to all of you who are donating in the PayPal tip jar, and a big thank you also to Tamara from Australia, who wanted to support us being out here and trying to share the truth with you guys. So a big thank you to everyone supporting the show. Janine, back to you.
Yeah, didn't Tamara want to get some supplies to the truckers?
Yes, but apparently now that's a criminal offense, Janine.
Apparently it's a criminal offense. Well, don't forget, in a lot of places in Canada, it's a criminal offense to feed homeless people. Like, when did we turn into this? This is good though, because now we're getting to see firsthand what they've done to our country. People don't realize what's been done to the country. And this is what this lawyer was saying. This place has turned into, like, without anybody noticing, nobody's paying attention, just turned into an absolute communist country. Like, or worse. It's horrifying, but we just lost. There you are.
Oh, my fan is running really hot. So I was trying to figure out what was happening. Okay, go on, Janine.
Okay, so that was definitely a double. So even though people are saying it looked just like her, well, they just did a good job on the double, because this card would be like a double, like a twin or something.
Right.
And this is the Queen of Swords. She's the Queen of Pentacles. So she's a Taurus, and this is an air sign. It's a different woman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it might be somebody they've used a lot. So that's why she seems so familiar to the Brits, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right, there's that. Okay, so we've got the three. Yeah, so really what they're doing is they're hedging their bets, just like I said. So there's all of this stuff going on. So there's all of these things you don't know yet, like that most of the British, elderly British are gone, like, and I'm telling you. Okay, so they're hedging their bets with Camilla. So they're saying that in case they decide to publicly take out Charles, right? Get him out of the way, because, of course, they mentioned that he's doing really badly, by the way. Okay, so we know, I believe he's not here with us anymore. But that way they got her lined up just in case they decide they're going to put forward this royal family still. Like, it's hedging. I don't know why they're doing it. I have no idea. I wouldn't do it this way, but I don't know. Right. Mm-hmm. I wonder if the White Hats and or Alliance think they need these people for some reason, right? They might need them in place, because we know they capitulated quite a while ago. But anyway, right. Yeah, they're hedging their bets, you guys. And they're according to my cards, they're in kind of a tough spot for some reason. So it's just not convenient to do it any other way. Now, I think we'll figure all of that out in the coming days, months. Weeks, months, but I wouldn't know what that is. So I asked, what's the biggest thing we need to hear right now around that? Okay, so that's the positive military. There's some big positive military action for the good of humans ready to go here. That's the biggest thing we need to pay attention to. So I'm thinking what we were talking about just before this might be something we need to really pay attention to. That channel piece that woman said. Right. I don't know how or what excuse they're going to use, but I think that's one of the ways they might try to roll out a world lockdown.
Wow.
That part is true. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Speaking of that, the Galactic Federation, you and I are going to be having a show this Thursday night entitled The Great Awakening, and we have a special mystery guest. So folks, if you want to check Janine's schedule and my schedule on our YouTube, you'll find that link to that show. We're going to have a really good time with that as well. We're getting into more of these conversations about the fact that we don't live in an enclosed system. And as Cliff High, he's on the screen now, from Violet Biggs, was saying that in his WebBot data here, he was saying that in the spring, we would be talking about ETs in a big way. So it's interesting that more and more people are channeling these messages, but it could very well be that we might see their hand also at play in all of this very soon. So lots of things to follow. Janine, I wanted to bring your attention to something else that was weird that happened last night. Last night was like about 10 o'clock by the time we got back to the hotel room. And I was in the elevator just getting some food. And this gentleman came up to me and he was like, really, really nice. And I'm like, well, okay, they're Canadians. Everybody's really nice. But this guy was like talking to me like he knew who I was. But of course, he didn't know who I was. And I don't know who he was either. And he was like, oh, do you like the energy today? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And I asked him, I said, well, were you here last week? Is this your first day? He says, oh, it's my first day. I'm like, oh, yeah. I said, last week was cool, too. And he says, oh, it's such great news, that Pierre is running. And I was like, wait a second. Why would a guy out of the blue who doesn't know who I am ask me, hey, Pierre is running? Like, nobody would know who Pierre is, why that guy would say that to me. And I had to struggle for a minute. And I said, yeah, maybe. But it struck me. I knew, of course, who he was talking about. But you don't approach anybody, a stranger, in an elevator to say, hey, Pierre is running. Pierre who? What are you talking about? And so I took at it. I was talking to Sarah about it. And I was like, wow, that very much felt like the Matrix was telling me there was a switch in narrative coming up, that this individual was speaking to me, but something was trying to speak to me through him. And so today I met somebody who's a reporter in alternative media on the Hill, and I don't want to mention their name, but they were also now all excited that the gentleman here, Pierre Poliver, was running for office. And this is alternative news. So they were kind of pushing the idea that, oh, look, it's great news. This guy's running. All the problems are going to be solved type of narrative. And my first reaction is, and again, I'm not speaking against the gentleman on the screen here, was like, wait a second here. Is that in fact the machine here realizing that Mr. T here, or Canadian Mr. T, is in fact dead? As Cliff High was saying here, the government is collapsing, or has collapsed already. He might be referring to his WebBot data stuff. But is the machine now realizing that they've gone too far with that horse, the liberal horse, and now they want to put in a new character who at the end of the day might very well be the same as the old boss, like Meet the New Boss, same as the old boss. So I found it very weird that even the alternative media here, the Truther movement, was now pushing this guy. And just the fact that we were going to get a change of government. And to me, I was like, wait, that's beside the point here. We're way past changing the chairs on the Titanic here, in my view. Janine, what do the cards have to say? What's going on here?
A strategy by the bad guys. That guy in the elevator was a plant, and I get he did know who you were.
Oh, wow.
Okay. He was planted in your hotel. I get he did know exactly who you were, and he wanted to get you excited about it, get you talking about it on your news, because you're a big news channel, just in case you didn't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny.
He was put in there to get to. It's like it was a purposeful thing. He was trying to get the word out, and they probably planted these people to anybody that was doing live stream and or has an audience like you do and or does work like you. They're probably putting the bug in lots of people's ears. I got several emails with regular people that look on the what's going on, and they were excited about this PR guy. I'd never heard of him. So I'm like, I'm not going to get excited about him, because where was he when Canada was in the toilet, or has been, well, for years, but I mean, where was he when these ridiculous measures are being taken? No one was speaking out except maybe one or two people, but he wasn't one of them.
Well, here's the thing too. If you just scroll back a couple of months, we just had a federal election here, and in those federal election televised debates, all of the parties, every one of them, all the leaders, they all agreed with the measures. So it was like a non-debate on the situation that's going on around the world now. Yep. So in my view, if they're going to change the players, and for any of us to be excited, you have to bring new people who were like, oh, maybe David Icke, maybe Cliff High, who were absolutely outspoken against all of this, not just wishy-washy for the last 2-3 years here. So yeah, guys, basically in French, I'll say, restez aux aguets, stay tuned, stay alert. We don't want to get fooled again with hey, meet the new boss, same as the old boss here. Because at the end of the day here in Canada, anybody who takes office, they go at Rideau Hall and pledge their allegiance and their loyalty to the Queen. So until that changes, I wouldn't be excited about anything. And to make matters maybe more precise for the audience members here too, I met a lot of those truckers, and I keep watching all of their press conferences here too. And some people said, hey, why didn't you guys talk to Maxime Bernier? He seems to be on your side. And they're like, wait. We're not associated with any politician. And they're very clear about that. They're like, those guys are who got us into this mess in the first place. We're here for freedom, and we're here for Canadian rights. We are, in fact, strong and free. That's what our national anthem says. And I completely agree with that. At this point, changing the chairs on the Titanic won't do any difference. And hopefully, if you guys are watching the chat now and you understand what I'm saying, and you're hearing all of these puppets just basically rhyming off maybe new talking points here to change the channel to say, oh, again, look at this external savior. If only this guy comes back, everything's going to be okay. Well, be careful with that. It's a ruse. Wash, rinse, and repeat. We've seen it so many times. Janine, we're 33 minutes in. Is there anything else you wanted to share here tonight on this special broadcast? Can we go back maybe to the state of emergency and see if tonight we could have the potential for riots? Again, I'm just reading from text here from some of the RCMP members who are saying that anytime they go raid in those types of events here, it could potentially fire up. I absolutely don't want that for Ottawa. I fear for everybody's safety here, including our police officers who are put in a very difficult position here. Can we just maybe touch base with the cards here and get another read as to how this could probably unfold here for the next 12 hours here at night?
So when it was first announced, it was shocking. So that would have been a high energy moment, right? It was shocking, and people were caught off guard. Then it looks like the trucker organizers got the word out to a lot of, or are getting the word out to everybody. Be nice, be cordial. Like, you could stand your ground, but you have to be, you can't be rioting, right? You can't be doing that, right? So they think the word's been circulating that they need to do it in a cordial way or whatever. But there could be a few moments for sure with that judgment. There's always going to be a few people that just can't play nice, you know what I mean? But for the most part, it kind of just goes on standstill, and they're going to deal with it tomorrow. So they're going to have a big meeting. They're probably meeting right now, and then they're going to tell everybody what they're going to do tomorrow. So I don't think it does go to riots, but it could get pretty sketchy, you know, a few moments of it, but I wouldn't go riots.
Right now, if you look behind me in the downtown core, I'm just overlooking the what they call the market, the Byward Market area here. It's absolutely quiet. Just walking down, there's no activity, there's no noise, there's no trucks honking. It's dead silence right now. It's actually kind of eerie because this is not the typical volume here in Ottawa in the last couple of weeks. Okay, Janine, there's something else I want to talk about the military. Yesterday, during one of my live streams, I did see some of our veterans take the stage, and you should have heard the audience roar. Like, these guys were like, hey, we've been fighting for freedom, fighting for your rights around the country, around the world, in many cases coming back with PTSD. And man, these guys had support from the crowd like you wouldn't believe. And they were standing up to all of this here. And it brought me to this, the young girl who had this poster up that says, my grandfather didn't fight the Nazis so we could show papers to buy food, basically. And this is a picture of my grandfather in the Royal Canadian Army Service Corps. And I was like, yes, absolutely, we need to remember that. And now it's up to all of us, including the children holding those signs, everybody walking on the streets here with their parents, to remember who we're fighting. We're fighting those same people now. Let's pull some cards on that idea, Janine, that this is basically the same fight that we had in the 1940s, the same people behind this, the same pharmaceuticals. Like, what can we tell the audience members here to really realize that we are in fact at war, even though it hasn't been portrayed that way in the mainstream media?
You bet. They're absolutely the same. Goes around, this comes around full circle. Yeah, it's full circle back around. Those guys never left. Remember, a lot of them got assimilated into the US and maybe Canada too, in the background. Scientists, doctors, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So we're definitely, it's just some alterations for sure, but, and add some other demonic energies and entities, but yeah, very similar kind of energy here. We've been working with these guys. We know this bunch.
Yeah, and we need to have those conversations with our children and make them remember also the sacrifice of the generations before us who are fighting this, and make them realize that we're also fighting this now. I'm excited about all of this. I truly am. I know the energy seems to be going our way, and I say seems because I want to be, of course, cautiously optimistic. And I also don't want to encourage people to just sit on their laurels and do nothing. Whatever you can do right now is moving that needle, like even a millimeter to the light here or on the right side. You need to do that on a daily basis, on an hour to hour, minute to minute basis. This is how critical this energy is right now. And as we're pulling the cards to figure out where we are in all of this, every time we push that needle, the trajectory goes back our way. And even though those guys are forcing to push it back on their end. What's the card saying on that? Wow. It's
saying count your wins. We made big wins this week. And so not to discount that. Yeah. Stay enthusiastic. It's like they're just trying to, it was like things were way too happy this weekend, so they wanted to rain on the parade. By the way, it's looking really bad in whatever news is getting out. The world is watching, and it looks really bad on Ottawa's leadership or supposed leadership and Canada's leadership. There was a lot of wins, so we have to, don't discount, and just wait this out till tomorrow, and we'll see what the people want to do who organize this thing, because I feel like they're going to have a really good thing to say about it and a plan going forward. There was a major in particular win, and the win was way more truth got out and a lot more people know what's going on and a lot more people are awake. That's huge. That's a huge win right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And again, like the people I'm talking here to, and there's, again, they're not showing this on the news. And I was, as I was doing my live cast, I kept having to mute the microphone because people were saying the truth on the stage behind me. I'm like, oh my God, our channel is going to be blown up here. But we had all of these doctors coming out and saying, hey, I lift my hand here. I bought into the fear. I made mistakes 2 years ago. I thought this was the way. But then as I started researching, I realized, oh my God, we're completely wrong. There's a bigger picture. And these people lost their jobs in order to say the truth, right? Yeah. So they're out there now on the screen. But you, the mainstream media news, are not reporting that. So Canadians cannot hear that other medical advice. And these are people out working in the fields and who have Nobel Prizes and who are recognized throughout the world for what they know in terms of virology and epidemiology. I'm getting tired. But at any rate, it was absolutely fascinating to watch. But these people were also saying, hey, I made a mistake. I'm willing to admit that. And that's what's critical right now about our children too. As they're pushing the age limits down for these products right now, we have to have that conversation with the parents. And we have, those parents need to be as brave as those doctors and to say, hey, maybe I made a mistake too. Maybe I fell into the fear programming, but this far no further. I will admit my mistake, but I will not put my kid in harm's way. And this is what's coming up around the world right now. If you're looking at the reports of the incidents, and that's all I'll say, it's absolutely atrocious, the risk associated with those products and those lower age groups. So again, if I could say it that way, hopefully that passes through and you guys understand what I'm saying. Janine, we're 40 minutes in. Is there anything else you wanted to check in with us tonight here on this emergency broadcast? Any other news items or perhaps any last words of wisdoms you want to share with the audience?
Well, I think it's emboldened us to do more of standing up for ourselves. So this whole thing was absolute, even if it has to get wrapped up, if that's what happens tomorrow, the whole thing was incredible for momentum. And it got all kinds of things going all over the world, and people started to realize what they can do, and not just we've been stomped on, just been horrifying for the last 2 years. So I think it emboldened a lot of people to actually go, you know what, enough is enough. Enough is enough. And like I said, it woke even more people up, and that'll just keep going because of the rippling effect. I've been sending all these videos to all of my relatives that aren't listening. They probably blocked me by now. But like I just kept sending them because I'm like, you guys need to see, you won't see this on the mainstream media. So this is what's going on, just so you know. So share. Like that's something we can all do.
Yeah. And Lori A is saying, like, this ties into your point. There's 2.5 million in Ottawa alone. And we saw the protests under the Eiffel Tower in Paris also. This is going worldwide. But here, even today, in this emergency state of emergency being declared here in Ottawa, in their presser, they're talking about 500 trucks and a couple of hundred protesters. I mean, are you effing kidding me?
People know their BS. Like people know it's not true. They've seen videos or they literally saw it themselves.
Right. But this is why this is so important. And guys, I did put out videos of just people dancing and all that. For some of your family members, maybe they don't want to get into the politics. Just send them that video. Show how absolutely amazing people are having a good time, laughing, hugging each other. Like, this is a camaraderie we've never seen before. In this country, the way we're seeing it now, it's absolutely, I've never seen this in my life. And I've been on Parliament Hill many, many times for Canada Day, but I'm telling you, the energy there is absolutely crazy. So yes, please share those videos at least. And if not, if people are a little bit more awake, share them the video from tonight, share them the other coverage we did, where we talk a little bit more in details about what's going on, because of course the mainstream media is not doing it. And to some extent, the alternative media is also not necessarily presenting this the right way, especially now with this like exit strategy towards, okay, here's the new guy, same as the old guy. We need to be careful and wary of that as well. Jenny,
don't just let anybody assume the position, and that includes people calling themselves our queen. Okay. You know what I'm talking about? So, okay, nobody's my queen and nobody's my PM. We're going to do this all different because all of that doesn't work. It's not working. We're going to figure this out together without people just stepping up into the place where the heck were they while everything was falling apart?
Yeah. Well, guys, that's it for tonight. I'm going to reassess and look at my phone here. I am getting minute-to-minute reports from my friends who are in the NRCMP to make sure that we're still safe here. I'm going to make a determination as to whether I'm staying tonight or maybe leaving tomorrow. So please do, yes, pray for our safety. Pray for every trucker's safety and all the supporters here in Ottawa as well. Hopefully the situation tonight, the cooler heads prevail, as we say. In the meantime, you can follow, of course, Janine at Ascending Ravens here on YouTube and also at Tarot by Janine. And if you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe here on my third Beyond Mystic channel. And you know what was funny? When I spoke to that other alternative news media caster today, I told him I had been deleted 3 times. And it was a weird conversation. It wasn't, Janine, it wasn't what I expected. So I was like, I felt weird about the conversation. And it led me to believe that perhaps some of these alternate sources also are not exactly as they portend to be. So folks, if you want to keep us supporting us, absolutely a big thank you. And please do at least share and subscribe all of these videos. And in the meantime, you can support Janine and I here also on our pay-per-view. You can find that at beyondmystic.net pay-per-view. And to all the Insider Access Pass members, including that lovely couple I met on the hill today, a big thank you to you. It is because of you and your support here that I'm able to do this. Of course, Janine and I didn't get a chunk of that $600 million donation the Liberal government gave to the mainstream news. So we're doing this on our own. So you guys in the Insider Access Pass members make it all possible. So big thank you to all of you. And my heart goes out to you. And again, I do apologize this last week. Jenny and I, of course, we're busy doing these shows. And we're also a little bit long in our tooth. And so we're a little bit late on our production schedules of the next pay-per-views. But don't worry, we'll get to them. But priorities are important. And as you see, Jenny and I are here. When it counts, you can count on us. And on the last note, Janine, what the hell happened to your background? Explain to the audience here the amazing look you've created for us.
Yeah, I'm a textiles person, and that's actually fabric. Everybody thinks it's wallpaper.
It looks like an old tapestry.
Yeah, it's tapestry fabric. I have yards and yards of this stuff. So I put it up, and that's the new backdrop. And I just wanted it to look more like something I would sit in front of. I'm kind of funny. Like I wanted it to be personal and not, I don't want to look like a news, like I'm on a news show, because that's not me, right? I wanted it to look homey. And those are lit up crystals behind me there. Whoops.
Yeah, that way.
Right?
Yeah.
So those are crystals that are actual, they're under these little lights. And so they actually light up the crystal.
Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. So, yeah. And there's all kinds of magic in that, with that raven picture somebody sent me. And there's a lot of magic in there. And I'll try to change it up every once in a while too. Put some cool stuff in there.
Awesome. All right, folks. That's it for tonight. Janine, thank you so much for coming on a late Sunday evening. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this live stream. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern for Tarot by Janine. Have a good evening, everyone. Au revoir.
Au revoir.